first thing I'd like to say is welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
Because this is true, though. You're 32 years old and you look fantastic. And in your adult life, you've never lived in Australia.
No, not at all.
So since the Carlton days?
Yeah, I was 17 at Carlton and then left for Germany. So
you went to Germany,
been a long time.
And then Japan from there.
Yep.
And now back. Is it strange to be sort of moving back to... You're from Australia, but is it strange to be moving back at this age going, all right, this is the side they drive on, isn't it?
Yeah, some things are definitely strange. I mean, you know, all of my adult life has been overseas and it's definitely one thing that my wife said I might struggle coming back and actually... You know, sort of living back home.
Assimilating.
Well, yeah, sort of being fully Australian.
But here's to me, this is what I reckon is interesting when I see young kids playing stuff. Now, you've spent, since 17, you've been learning from people in Europe, in Asia and everything like that. How much of that early stuff was important to you? Or how
until 17.
Until you were 17. Is it all kind of whatever, they're just basics and you learn all the stuff afterwards, or was that stuff important?
No, I think I learned a lot before I went over. Right. I mean, I was at the Institute in Canberra for about 15 months and yeah, that was sort of the first time I trained every day and had games on the weekend, and I think that was a good sort of start or a stepping stone to moving into a professional environment. So.
Right. Were you, as a junior, were you a lanky forward scoring a lot with his head?
Oh, lanky, trim.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what I'm saying. Were you the same type of player?
I was always very slim, and yeah, definitely. I couldn't head as obviously when I was young. It was. I was a bit uncoordinated with the heading, but it took a few years to perfect.
So. What a massive surprise that you weren't short and fat when you were young.
A touchy subject for our friend on the end. It's a touchy subject.
Just because someone said that's a good question, now you've gone and tell.
I'm sorry about these two. It's like Bert and Ernie. Hey, so
welcome,
we talk...
Josh, welcome back. Because last time you were on the show, you hadn't come back, and I'm glad to hear that, you know, you've settled back in and you've got over the language barrier and all that sort of stuff. But when you decided to come back, why Melbourne City?
Yeah, good question.
Oh, here we go. It's two in a row.
Don't pat me on the head when I ask a good question. I'm just...
Should I answer it?
Yeah.
No, I think for me it was always going to be Melbourne. My wife is from Doncaster here, so we've always called Melbourne home. And I think the direction that Melbourne City was moving in, obviously with the takeover and the new sort of the future that they want and what's possible, I think for me it was very attractive. So it was a no-brainer, and that's where I wanted to be.
Tell us about Japan.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ask you this. You were the leading scorer in the J-League, 2 seasons.
Yep.
That's no other Australian's ever done that. That's an incredible achievement. What do you get? You know what I mean? What do you get for being...
Transistor radio?
No, I'll be honest.
What did you get?
First of all, I got a golden boot, an actual golden.
Was it your
trophy.
size though? Was it?
It's about size 6, so Japanese size.
Size 6, Japanese.
Also got a year's supply of Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Wow. Could you just ring up any time you want, or it came all at once?
I literally said, "When's my Coke coming?" Because I wanted to deliver to the club, and I think in about 2 days the boxes were gone. Everybody had taken it, and that was it.
That's great.
It's my Coke.
When your Coke, the Coke delivery is not usually a good question, but I'm glad that everything's fine.
That's pretty good.
They don't do any random testing over there, is that right?
No drug testing.
No, that's good.
And a couple other small little trinket things and stuff like that.
But was it fun playing there?
No, hold on. I just want to stay with the Coke before we get... Because I'm always fascinated when you know, people win competitions like all the...
A year's supply.
A year's supply.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
So what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
It was 16 cases of 24 bottles, I think, was a year's supply.
That should do ya.
For a week?
That's a week.
So you just...
I'm short and fat.
Josh,
that's refreshing.
Still a lot of this interview to go. No, but that's interesting. So
yeah, no, I love that stuff.
16 times.
I love that stuff.
Okay,
and did you get was it a bonus as well? Did you get a bit of
Coke Zero just on the end?
Was it bonuses and stuff like that? Is that how it worked as well?
There was a few little incentives.
And is there a translator for all the coaching? What happens there? Because there's Brazilians playing and there's people playing from the Middle East and everything. Is there what language gets spoken?
Yeah, we had Stojkovic, who was from Yugoslavia, the old Yugoslavia. So obviously he did our sessions in English. Right. With a Japanese translator for the boys, so for me it was quite simple. I understood him, and probably most of the team struggled to get that translated.
Right. So. But it's pretty simple for you. Stand there, ball comes, head, in goal, collect Coke. You know that? That's pretty much how it went. Do you want to talk Socceroos?
I do want to talk Socceroos because clearly we're talking part of the golden generation. Okay, now in fact it's really weird to think that some of our viewers are probably too young to even remember, you know, the lead up to that whole 2006 World Cup. But it was one of the great tournaments. It must have been amazing to be part of. If I could just take you back to one particular game, that night against Croatia. Was it Stuttgart? It was in Stuttgart, wasn't it? It was in Stuttgart. Now, amazing start by Croatia. They got a goal early on. This is, that's Craig Moore scoring a penalty there. Shocker from Zelko that night. He didn't have one of his good nights. And luckily... it was a happy ending.
Here comes your flick on. Here comes your flick on. That's you. Sort of.
Sort of. And so it all finished off nicely. But what was it like to be out there that night? Because in the crowd, we were just going nuts.
Yes.
Could you feel the tension? What was it like on that magic night?
Oh, you could definitely feel the tension. It was something special. You could feel that game, that moment was special. And
how did Gus get you to focus and not be overawed by it and actually sort of do the job? What happened?
No, I think Gus was prepared really well for each game and for each possibility what might happen in the games, and if we went behind or if we went up a goal. So in that sense, we were very well prepared. So nothing came as a shock or surprise if it happened in the game. And as far as being concentrated on what we had to do, it was a no-brainer. That was our job. That's what we're there for.
Did you guys, how they had the crazy, I think we've got the moment in the moment, that the insane 3 yellow cards to Simunic?
No, we may as well show it because first of all, the first one is...
this is the one I want to see.
Now, this is the amazing... You're about to score a goal.
Do you remember this?
Now, do you remember this? The guy actually punched the ball away as you're about to head the ball. Now, the remarkable thing about that, and I don't know whether our viewers remember this or not, but he gave away a penalty in the first half doing exactly the same thing. Could you tell that was happening as you were going in for a header?
To be honest, I mean, everything was at 100 miles an hour.
Right.
And, I mean, little things like that, of course, we knew it's a penalty. But when, 3 yellow cards came out, I didn't have any clue about that when it happened. So
again, if we look at the last 5 seconds of this game,
Brecht
as a thrower, okay? The ball is flicked onto you. You are then pushed over for a penalty. That is clearly a penalty.
That's Taekwondo.
Now, John Robertson scores a goal, and they look around, and the referee said the game's over. The game is actually physically over. And then, on top of all that, he then hands a 3rd yellow card to Simunic because he'd forgotten that he'd given him 2. That's got to be the weirdest 5 seconds of football ever played. Did you know what was going on at that point?
No, obviously not. If you see on the video, I get up and try to celebrate the goal that was scored, and I thought,
Oh, you thought you were going back to the halfway line for the goal?
I thought I did my job, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So,
that is amazing.
It was the most... Well, no, we talk it up, but was it the most intense game that you've ever played in?
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Right.
The most intense, but probably the most enjoyable with the outcome we had.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that was, I remember that night, they were, the Croatian team in particular, they were all over us. Dukes got fouled every time he got on. When you came on, they had 2 hands on your shoulders. What do you, because that's the way you play. What do you do if there's a defender that's just all night, all over you, on your shoulders? What do you do? Because you're not a kicker or you're not a stomper like Gerard. You don't get that fired up. How do you deal with it?
Obviously you try not to get frustrated. Hopefully the referee's doing his job. And if it's you always hope that. If they're a dirty, ugly player, then you try to stay away from them, of course, don't you? So,
It's go and hide in midfield.
That's it.
A couple from me, Josh, if you don't mind. No, I've just got a question. What are the leagues that you like to watch, other than the A-League, of course?
Obviously the English League. When I was younger, it was Manchester or Liverpool, so I'm still a Manchester United fan until Manchester City came along. So.
Now, you couldn't be more Manchester City if you tried, could you?
You see the colour and...
Absolutely.
Yeah, what are some of your favourite Man City players from years gone by, mate?
Sean...
White Phillips, yes.
Sean Gota?
Yeah, he was quite... Yes.
Onto your current, though, club, the Melbourne City. I've got a tweet here. David Williams, who I know you haven't been at the club very long, but he's a teammate of yours. He tweeted the show today because he knew,
He's tweeted us.
He's tweeted us.
We've made
Who would have thought? So can you explain? He's tweeted us this, David Williams. Now, can you explain?
What are you doing?
What's going on here? And also, where are your calves?
Yeah.
What's going on in that photo?
First of all, there's no phones in the change room, I thought.
Okay.
So that'll be a fine for him.
He's an up-shorter.
What's an internal fine?
It's a slab of Cokes.
What are you doing though? What do you pick? What's in that little basket? What are you doing there? Is it a key party? Aaron Moy again?
No, I'm actually carrying urine samples.
Everyone's?
Yeah, looks like it, yeah.
No, is that... So that's just you doing a little drug test?
There'll be lots of little samples in there, yeah.
Yeah, but hold on, but why are you carrying them? Don't they have...
I'll probably just put them somewhere. Somebody's probably put them on my spot to be funny and... So.
Is it true you've brought them to give to the audience tonight?
Under your chairs, just
Yeah,
check
if you
out.
look under your chair, you've all got a sample.
Getting tested for hydration and
Yes.
we'll do that once or twice a week.
See, Sam, there's a perfectly logical explanation
Yeah.
for most things. Hey, finally, we'd love to see you back in the Socceroos squad. Would you
Yeah.
love to see you back in the Socceroos squad?
I think if my performances for Melbourne are good enough and I'm scoring goals, then
Which you are.
hopefully some more goals. And
Well, when will we see you back on the field?
this weekend I should be back.
Excellent.
Excellent.
And I think the rest will take care of itself. If I'm in form and the boss wants to call me, then no problems.
Excellent. Can you please thank Josh Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen? We're back with more right after this. Stay with us.
Sam and Ed's Total Football. Michael Zapponi speaking. Wow, that sounded great.
This has been a production of Fox Sports.